I never did acid before, and he gave me a hit of acid. And I have videos of this too. Like I said, I have a whole life on camera.
I just wanted to document the stories. I know a lot of great people. Like, I just know a bunch of really cool, interesting, talented, strong people, and I wanted to record their stories. Hey, Mario, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. How's it going?
It's great. Thanks. This is really cool for me. I recently watched your movie,
Oh,
which
thank you.
it warms my heart. It warms my heart. I'm like kind of from the generation in Albuquerque where everyone just got in trouble and got addicted to drugs and got arrested. So it's such a pleasure for me to watch a movie about like the
Kind of the same
musicians.
stuff.
It is, but it's not nearly as dark. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at these young men. They're successful and they're making music. So it was a pleasure for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think every generation kind of goes through similarities with that you know,
Yeah.
that way
Well,
of,
one thing leads to another.
yeah.
Hmm.
Nowadays it's different though with it because you have the internet and you have social media, which is different. Back in those days, like we had to go outside and experience the world through like actually being out of our house and not through a screen. So, yeah, it's a lot different for kids nowadays, I believe.
Much different, I'm sure. So, will you just start at the beginning? Tell us who you are, where you're from. Start telling me the things you've done in your life, and
Oh, well, my name is Mario. I guess I could say I'm a creative dude and a musician, and I've also I grew up. Let's see, I grew up in South Florida. I was born in North Carolina, but I was only in North Carolina after I was born for like a month, and then my parents, my family, were Cuban Italians, right? So
okay,
my
that
dad
sounds
was,
yummy. Like that
yeah,
sounds like good food.
great food for sure.
Yes.
My dad was born in Cuba, brought to Florida. A lot of Cubans come from, Cuba to Florida. So my parents met in Key West, Florida. A little fun fact is my grandfather, which I have his middle name Jose, he worked with Ernest Hemingway. He was a captain of Ernest Hemingway's yacht or boat or something back in the day. So I remember when I was a little kid, I used to go to Hemingway's house because Margot Hemingway was living there at the time. We were kids, and I remember they were shooting like a documentary of sport, and I was a little kid there seeing that. I was 4 years old, so there's pictures and stuff, but I don't know too much of the history, like, but I know that there's an affiliation there, and that my grandfather worked with Hemingway. And somebody was saying there's like a someone who there's another captain of his boat after my grandfather who's more noticed, who's like famous for that. And I can't
Okay.
remember the guy's name, but anyways. So I'm from
So
South.
your grandfather was the unsung hero.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I grew up in South Florida. I remember growing up in Key West. Again, I'm kind of backtracking, but grew up in Key West. And then when I was about 5 years old, we went to West Palm Beach, Florida. And so I lived there until I was 15 years old. And then they were like, my dad got offered a job in Albuquerque. And I was like, what the hell is Albuquerque? I never heard of it before.
At
Well,
15.
I was 15 years old, and I remember growing up in our kitchen, we always had this plaque, and it said the Land of Enchantment, New Mexico. And I think my grandfather actually was one who gave it to us. And it was always in my kitchen, so I've always seen it. It was like a Zia symbol. It said the Land of Enchantment, New Mexico. And I never heard, I didn't know what it was, you know?
And now they want to move to Albuquerque.
Yeah. And we moved to Albuquerque. And I really didn't like it, to be honest, at first, because I grew up in South Florida. I grew up like surfing in the ocean. Uh,
Playing outdoors.
yeah, always outdoors skateboarding. And when I moved to Albuquerque, I was bummed because there was no more ocean. I was in the mountains. It was a desert. It was a whole new experience for me. Never seen snow before. Um, but I started adapting to it. I picked up skateboarding really heavy. Um, which I love, and Albuquerque is great for skateboarding, to be honest. And I've always played music. I started playing music at the age of 6 years old. I started playing guitar. And when I turned 8 years old, I got into making videos because my dad always had the like 8 millimeter cameras, like the little, or they're 16 millimeters actually. And I have my life since birth, I have my life on camera. So it's crazy. So I've always,
That is awesome, which is why your movie was so good.
okay, yeah. Yeah, so my dad always made videos of me. So I have, yeah, videos since the day I was born. There's a footage, actually transferred it over because we got all our old 16 millimeter tapes transferred. My parents did it back in, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s. They got it transferred over to the DV tapes. So they gave me all the footage. I just recently spent 6 months transferring all my footage over to digitizing it. So I got all that, got heavy into music at a young age and making videos. So did that in Florida, surfing, skateboarding, playing music. I think the first time I ever played a show, I was 11 years old in front of my whole school, or I just turned 12. I have footage of that. It's funny.
What a great
Yeah.
story.
And
Can I just ask real quick, what did your parents do? Were there musicians and
they
filmmakers in your
weren't.
family?
So my mom's more the creative. She's actually an artist. So she paints. Even to this day, she paints and sells them on Facebook Marketplace, like her paintings, sells them online. My dad was more of a sports guy. He was like in the baseball back then. And he tried to get me into that sports when I was younger. I just never gravitated towards sports. I come from a baseball family, but I never gravitated to. I was more into like I said, surfing and skateboarding. And but my mom was an artist, so I kind of picked that up from her. My sister as well. I have an older sister. She played the piano and played the flute. I picked up on that. So I just gravitated towards music and the arts and the creative.
Was it the technology? Are you a technology guy too?
Yes, I love technology.
Yeah, so an electric guitar was somewhere along the lines of a new computer.
Yeah,
in 1980.
I remember we used to have 8 tracks, like they said the records. We used to have records and the tape cassette and 8-track record player and stuff. And I got all into that. So yeah, I just was heavy into the arts, I guess, in a sense. And then always stuck with that. Started making my own movies and stuff when I was like 8 years old, learning how to edit. Like I remember my dad when I got older, around 8 years old, because he went from the 16 millimeter cameras to the VHS camcorder. And I would start making movies and like skits, and I would make like music videos to my favorite videos. And then, and I kept doing that. And then I learned how to edit from a VHS camcorder to a VCR. And so I stuck with it and just did all that. And then when I got older, I think I was like 14. Yeah, I was 13 or 14 years old. I made a surf skateboard video with the VHS camcorder and the VCR. And I remember I kind of mimicked one of my favorite surf videos, which was a surf video called Momentum by a guy named Taylor Steele. And I was a kid, so my video was called Momentum 69. And I remember I used the Ministry song Psalm 69 as the opening, but it was pretty funny.
Okay. And this is at 13?
Yeah, I was like 13, 14 years old. And I made copies of all like the local guys, the scene there. And I made tons of copies on VHS tapes, and I sold them at the local skate surf shop. So as a kid, before that, I was really into. I'm going all over the place.
I'm loving it. That's what we all do. Tell it.
When I first got into, let me backtrack a little bit. When I first got into music, was I liked heavy metal bands. Like I grew up. My sister was a big Bon Jovi fan, so she kind of got me into like the hair rock bands. Then I got into like Motley Crue and all that. Then I got into Metallica, the Slayer, Annihilator, Exodus, Death Angel. I got into all these bands. And then it's when I got into the surf and skateboarding, when I was about 11, I got into punk rock music, because punk rock music was the soundtrack of a lot of those videos, right? So so that got me going into music even more and finding other genres and getting deeper into it. And then I liked a lot of the rap stuff they had. And yeah, so anyways, it just kind of progressed. And then when I was older and a kid, let's see, when I used to skip school a lot, make videos with friends, all this stuff. And then I did that, growing up. And then when I was 15 years old, my parents like, we're moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now I'm fast forwarding.
Okay, I'm following.
And then when I moved to Albuquerque, like I said, I wasn't too much of a fan of it. It was completely new territory. I wanted to get emancipated from my parents to go back to Florida. So I was
Oh no, you were pretty mad.
I was pretty mad. I was pushing hard to have that happen, but my parents didn't allow me to do that. So I dropped out of high school. I rebelled really hard.
Can I ask what? So you got sent to, is it El Dorado?
I went to
Is
El
that what
Dorado High School.
And what year were you supposed to graduate?
I'm 46, so I think I was supposed to graduate in 97, 98.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe after.
No, it just puts a timeline in my head.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So when I moved to Albuquerque, I despised it, but I started growing to love it. I got heavy into skateboarding and started playing drums in some punk rock bands with some friends that I met. And so after that, we started playing shows. I remember playing, what was that place called? It's Club UN. Do you remember Club UN?
I don't know Club UN.
And then the Dingo Bar. I played the Dingo Bar. And I was
the Golden West.
The Golden West. I was 15 years old playing these.
God, no kidding.
Yeah.
So you showed up in Albuquerque already a musician, already a skater, and being a surf. Perfect.
Yeah.
And found your crew right away.
Pretty much. Yeah. I went to El Dorado High School. My first year of school. I made friends with my buddy Eric, who became in Left Unsaid with me. But my other buddy Jay Olson. I played in so many different bands growing up in Albuquerque. But I started guitar is my main instrument, but I also played drums. I played bass and I played piano too. I learned pretty much all the instruments, but so I started playing drums in some punk rock bands, and then started playing shows around town. And then I was a wild kid. I rebelled against. I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to school anymore. I'm gonna drop out. I just want to play music. I want to skateboard, and I want to do what I do. And my parents were like, they weren't gonna emancipate me. Then I'm gonna do my own thing because I wanted to go back to Florida so bad. But I started growing to love Albuquerque. My parents said,
were you rebellious before you got to Albuquerque, or that just?
Oh yeah, I think I was always kind of just
leaning that way.
A hell-raising kid.
Okay.
Okay. And then, so after a while, my parents said, if you're not going to go to school, you have to get a job, and you got to, what is it that you really want to do with your life? You have to do something with your life. And I always told them, I'm going to do something with either the camera or this music stuff, or, I always, knew what I kind of wanted to do in life. I just didn't know how to get there just yet. So then, I just started doing that. I went to El Dorado High School. I dropped out of El Dorado High School the first time I ever did acid. My first day of my sophomore year of high school, my singer in the band I was playing in at the time, he was selling acid, and I never did acid before. And he gave me a hit of acid. And I have videos of this too. Like I said, I have a whole life on camera. I'm not.
Oh my.
So
wow.
I remember it was the day before my sophomore year, and I'm sitting here tripping in my room. I have the camera, I'm filming myself, and I remember the next day I go to school and I'm trying to find my classes, but I'm tripping, and I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm never gonna come back again. That's when I dropped out.
Just first day, sophomore year, tripping. I don't think I want to do this.
Yeah, I was just like, I think, and that's when I told my parents, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to go in an order, but I might be jumping all over the place.
That's okay.
So, so it's funny too, because one of my friends, his name was Chris Bleeker, And if you go to the old El Dorado High School yearbook for what would have been my sophomore year, it says my name, but it has his picture. So he like took he took the picture for me.
Just
Um,
showed up.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, just to Albuquerque. So when I just got heavy in the music scene, heavy in the skateboard scene. Um, Played in a bunch of bands. I started touring. And then when I was about 20 years old, 21 years old, my parents were like, "Hey, we're going back to Florida. Do you want to come with us?" And I said, "No, I'm staying here." So it kind of like, flipped. At first, I wanted to go back to Florida and leave New Mexico. And then they went back to Florida and I wanted to stay in New Mexico. So,
Damn kids.
yeah. So that's when, yes, I played in a bunch of bands, and that's when our band Left Unsaid started doing stuff, and we really started making some waves in the Albuquerque music scene and in the music industry altogether. And we kind of took off from there, and I was in Albuquerque, yeah, for so long. I mean, that was basically my life. I did the same type of stuff for as long as I lived in Albuquerque.
Okay.
Skateboarding, being in bands, touring, playing, and making videos. When I think I hit like 30 years old, when the band stuff kind of died down, we Left Unsaid had, if you watch our documentary, it tells the whole story, and like we were so close. It just didn't pan out for us, but you can, if anybody's watching this, wants to go to Amazon and check out Left Unsaid.
It warmed my heart. The soundtrack is great. The pictures, the videos, all of it. My husband has now downloaded all of your albums, uh, old music, new music.
Nice.
I've watched the documentary a couple of times. I'm like
Oh, awesome. Thank
really,
you so much.
yeah. I mean, it's cool because there's not a lot written and not a lot documented about Albuquerque. So
Well,
you
that's
did it right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to focus on too, is not just about us, it was about the whole scene we came from, because the Albuquerque music scene is very special. And now that I've lived in San Diego now for 10 years and I'm in the music scene out here, Albuquerque still stands out to me, and there's something very special about Albuquerque, that and the people involved in it to help bands get to the next level, and whatnot.
I really appreciated that in your movie too. A lot of people in my podcast give thanks to Joe Anderson and the things that he did, the opportunities that he gave them that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Funny little story about Joe Anderson. Joe Anderson I used to be in a band with Joe Anderson. So when I was 17, I played in that band called Better Off Dead, and Joe was our bass player for a minute.
Was that how it works? See, I'm
Yeah.
trying to like piece together all of this history because there were so many bands.
There's so many bands, and everybody, Albuquerque is such a tight, small community, but like everybody was in a band with the other person at one point and so on, or played shows or helped each other out. It's always been awesome like that. And I think that goes for a lot of different cities too. I
Okay.
mean, because out here is kind of same. It's different nowadays than it was back in those days, for sure. But I think all music scenes have a little kind of, everybody's involved with each other in some form or another.
Internal structure. I think it's really great that you found your crew, started playing with a band right away when you got to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Those guys, they were in and out of your bands for the next 15 years.
Yeah, I played in the first band. Yeah, pretty much. I think my first ever band that I started was in Albuquerque. I was a drummer. My friend Jay was a bass player, and our friend Ryan was a guitar player. We were called Spotted Rogers, which was we used to skateboard El Dorado High School a lot, and one of the security like cop guys was named Rogers. So we would always be like, Spotted Rogers, let's go. You just
Spotted
want to keep
Rogers.
it out. So I think we named it after that. And then yeah, and then I forgot I did a bunch of other things.
The Left Unsaid, the guys in your band from Left Unsaid, one of them you had already known. Had you played with either of the other two
So
before that?
Eric I knew because he went to my school, and he was older than me, and we skateboarded together. And in fact, Eric didn't even play an instrument yet. Eric started playing music. I actually taught him, I started teaching him how to play guitar. And then I played in other bands already, but Eric and I were just super close friends. And then he actually met Hunter and Jeremy before I even knew who they were, and started 3 Degrees Left Unsaid with them. And that's when Eric started playing bass because they needed a bass player. And Eric's like, well, I play guitar, but I'll switch to bass. And they started that, you know, like how the documentary says it. But yeah, so I didn't come until later because I was always friends with Eric. And then Hunter knew of my other band that I had called Angry Inch, and Jeremy did too, I think, because we played shows with their other bands. They had other bands, like I said, like we've all played in bands together. And then down the road, yeah, when my band Better Off Dead broke up, I asked Eric, I was like, hey, let me play in 3 Degrees. And I think that's when they brought me in, and then we changed it to Left Unsaid, and then we stuck it out. And then that's when it really started taking off and doing stuff, because we got help from just not only were we getting better at like songwriting and being in a, you know, we were making more connections, playing bigger shows because Joe Anderson was putting us on bigger shows, which is helping us build an audience. And then we caught the attention of Ellen, who was the DJ at 104.7 The Edge. And with her, she gave us played us on the actual radio station and gave us a shot. And then it just like took off from there. And that's when it really started building, and we started selling out our shows, and we had major labels interested in our band because we're doing better than their bands on the radio station. And they were just like, what is this local band? How's this local band more popular than, you know? So it just started getting, yeah, to a point where we thought it was going to be like our full-time career.
So close. That's music for you, though. Where'd you guys tour? Where'd you go?
West Coast a lot, Colorado a lot, Texas, played the Idaho. We went east. I'm just trying to think of all that we played all around. But yeah, mainly we do a lot of West Coast tours though. A lot of California, Nevada, Colorado, Arizona. Yeah, but we did go east before, and I'm trying to think of all the places we stopped. I've been in so many different bands and toured a lot, and I still do it.
It's always the same after a while.
Yeah, now it's like the band I'm in now. I have a couple projects I do right now, but one of them tours like heavy, and they're a lot younger than me. So, but in this band, I say I'm 10 years younger than I am. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I still love doing it. It's just, yeah, I'll see how long I can go. I mean, there's bands that are still going that are in their 70s touring the world and stuff. I've never toured overseas, and that's one of my goals. So I really want to do that.
What were the just awesome bands you got to play with? Some of your favorites?
Oh, well, Left Unsaid played with a lot of good. We opened up for the Deftones, which I love the Deftones. So that was amazing. We've opened up for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was incredible. We opened up for the Offspring, which is another big one. Strung Out, Sparta. I love Sparta. Just a bunch of, man, we have so many shows we played. The Ataris, of course, they're in our documentary too.
It sounds like it was a really good time for you guys. Was that like 10 years? How long that last?
Well, it was back to last time Left Unsaid played the Deftones was 2011, I think. I think it was 2011 when we got to play with the Deftones, and that was crazy. And we weren't even a band anymore. Like our band broke up in 2004. Joe just said, "Hey, they're looking for a local band to open the show. Would you guys want to get back together and do it?" And we're like, "Hell yes, we'll do it." So
for them, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's definitely a band to brag about, to say that I opened up for.
That's a big deal for someone who is a music history person. That's a big deal. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we play with so many bands that are awesome, and yeah, it's hard. I can't just yeah. I
Yeah.
have them on camera too, which is great.
My God.
Yeah,
I can only imagine the amount of
yeah. I
just
mean,
yeah,
a lot
footage
of the
that you have.
bands that you saw in the documentary are from shows that we opened. I would just go, even shows that we didn't even play. I would go and film all the bands back then.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kind of like what Mike Trujillo, Mike Trujillo, he's the best. I love Mike Trujillo so much. That guy is awesome. And
Yeah, I'm like a super fan now. I didn't know about Mike before, and now I'm just like, wow, he's so professional and he's really good at just speaking.
he's the
Talks
best.
to, yeah, I like that he's in your movie too. That's very cool. I'm a fan just because you guys made a movie and I didn't even know about the punk rock.
Yeah, it took me 3.5 years to do
I
it
bet it did.
because well, what was funny is that it was during the pandemic, and I was going through all my tapes. Like, I have so many VHS, high tapes, many DV tapes. I have all this footage, and then I'm like, I should do something with this. And the story of Left Unsaid, I think anybody who's been in a band or been a part of a music scene can relate to. And we always got people like, what happened with Left Unsaid? Like, why didn't you guys like make it? Or why did you guys break up? And we still, even after we broke up for like a decade later, we were still getting hit up about stuff. And I was like, you know what, this will be great to put together. And not only that, it'll be cool for us and everybody in the band to have something, because it was such a big part of our lives, to have something to not only just for remembrance, but to share with, like, everybody in my band has kids. I'm the only one who doesn't have kids. I have 6 cats and a dog. Everybody has.
That's kids.
But
That's
yeah,
close enough.
but I was like, this would be something cool to put together, tell our story, and not only, put some light and shine on Albuquerque and the music scene. But yeah, so I drove to Albuquerque during the pandemic, loaded my car up with some cameras, some lights, some audio gear, and interviewed as many people as I could that wanted to be part of it in the scene. And then I did some Zoom interviews. I did the one with Chris Rowe. I was actually on tour with that band Lit, Hoobastank, Alien Ant Farm, and Chris Rowe from the Ataris for like a month. So I got to film Chris's interview
With him.
when we were in Florida together on tour. So that was fun. Yeah, and then I would just work and edit and put it all together when I had some downtime, basically, aside from my other projects.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Left Unsaid breaks up, then what happens?
Then I started a band called Your Name in Lights. Um, and that band, I took one of the last songs. So Your Name in Lights started because Left Unsaid was always going up and down. Oh, we're gonna break up. No, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna break up. Keep going. So at the time, the drummer in Left Unsaid and I started a side band called Your Name in Lights. Actually, it was called Leviathan at first, and then we changed it to Your Name in Lights. And we wrote the song "Kill the Ghost." And when Left Unsaid was on its rockiness, they heard the "Kill the Ghost" song, like, oh, why don't we use that for Left Unsaid? So we're like, okay, fine, we'll use it for Left Unsaid. And we did that, and we went to the studio, recorded that, and recorded another song called Murray LaRue. So after the final breakup of Left Unsaid, Gabe was a drummer with me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just go full time with Your Name in Lights. Left Unsaid's done. So let's take back our song "Kill the Ghost" that we recorded with Left Unsaid, and we'll just put it back for this band. So it was funny because when we did that, there was this contest for Warped Tour, and Ernie Ball like put on for like the whole Warped Tour. It's out of the whole the United States, right? Out of 10,000 bands, we entered, since we were still playing "Kill the Ghost" for the new band, we entered that song into this contest and won. So, and like in the documentary, I talk about this, but it's like, it's funny that we won this whole contest out of 10,000 bands. They gave us $25,000. They flew us to LA to showcase for some record labels, and they put us on the Warped Tour. And it's funny, we won that whole thing using a song that we recorded with Left Unsaid. So it's pretty funny, but
Mm, the
um
irony.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, so then that band went for a while. We ended up breaking up. I moved to Hollywood, California for a year. Um, and so I was the reason why that band broke up, to be honest. So I moved to LA for a year, and then I moved back to Albuquerque. When I moved back to Albuquerque afterwards, I joined. I've always played in different bands. But I joined my friend Isaac and Nate, and we did a thing called Monster Paws. I don't know if you've seen that. We had
No.
electronic pop. Well, first we started off as a rap group, but it was fun. We were called OMG, and then it evolved into Monster Paws. And we had a song on the Jersey Shore TV show on MTV.
Really?
Then we had a song on Ford 2014 Ford Fiesta commercial, which to this
Okay.
day I still get um like residual checks or whatever
Really?
from the MTV show when they played.
Okay.
But we had our friend Isaac and Nate really created Monster Paws after the OMG thing kind of died out. We had a song called Champagne Bike Ride, which we had in our OMG band, and that transferred over when Nate and Isaac started Monster Paws, and then that's when they brought me in to do stuff with them. But yeah, it was great. And Isaac, he passed away in 2019. He was really well known in Albuquerque. Um, he was in a lot of movies. I don't know. Have you ever seen? You know how Albuquerque has the movies being filmed there. Have you ever seen that movie Beer Fest?
Oh, no. I think I've heard of it though.
Isaac
Yeah.
had some little roles in some movies, but he passed away in 2019. But yeah, it was a wild. He was a good friend. Very sad, but he was a big part of Albuquerque scene too. And Nate too. Nate was in a band called October People, which is an amazing band, and he had his own side project thing that he did, like a solo project called Excalico, I believe it was called, and incredible musician. So yeah, but we did that, and then let's see, I played in a band called Empty Sails before I went and moved to San Diego. So, but music
So
and I was always going.
why San Diego?
I've you know um Well, it was either San Diego or New York was like my two options. But I started working for an advertising agency in marketing when I turned 30. So to bring the Monster Paws music video, Champagne Bike Ride, I edited the whole video, and that actually got me a job with an advertising agency because of the work I did on that video. So to
Awesome.
then. And that's because before then I was bartending. I bartended at an Atomic Cantina. I used to run a bar called the Tavern that my friends owned back in the day. But yeah, I started working in this advertising agency. It was called McKee Warwick and Company. Well, at first it was called McKee Warwick in Cleveland, and then it changed its name down the road. But anyways, my creative director from then moved to San Diego to work at this other agency in San Diego. And he basically, long story short, he called me and he's like, "Hey, would you want to work out here with me in San Diego and leave Albuquerque?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah."
Okay.
And my other friend lived in New York, and he was going to help me out there too, but I picked San Diego instead. I just loved it. I missed the ocean. It's kind of like going back. Like I grew up by
Yeah.
the ocean. Um, and I've always loved San Diego. I've always loved it out here. So it was just, I was like, you know what? Why not take a chance and try it out? If it doesn't work, I can always come back to Albuquerque. And the funny part is about this is my parents, the whole time they've been living in Florida, right? So I was 33 years old when my parents moved back to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We bought a house in Albuquerque. Um, which in my house, I'm jumping all over the place.
It's
So,
okay. I'm following.
but the house I owned and lived in Albuquerque, I ran a music channel on YouTube from it called 909 Sessions because my address was 909 Valencia Drive.
Okay.
So
Ooh.
go to youtube.com, go to youtube.com/909 sessions. That's my whole channel of, I used to have bands come and play my house acoustic, and I used to put out like 2 to 3 videos a week for the summer before I moved to San Diego. But anyways, fast forward. So yeah, my parents moved back to Albuquerque, and then I'm leaving. They moved back, and then a couple years later, I'm like, well, I'm going to California now.
Why did they move back to Albuquerque?
My dad loves Albuquerque.
Really? Just fits
Yeah, he
him.
loves it. And they like the winters here there, and they just so part of the attraction to New Mexico, not only did growing up, going back to when I was a kid in Florida, and my kitchen, I had that Land of Enchantment New Mexico plaque in there. So the reason why we moved to New Mexico too is my dad had a fascination with UFOs and whatnot.
Cool.
He would study that stuff, and he was working for State Farm at the time, and he had either an opportunity for Albuquerque, New Mexico, or Phoenix, Arizona, and he picked Albuquerque because not only it's like all these little signs. We had the plaque in the kitchen. He was in the UFO thing, and check this out. This is where it gets really weird. So not only do we move to Albuquerque, but guess what street our house was in Albuquerque that we lived on?
Is it like Roswell Street or
Key West Drive, which
no
my
way?
parents are from Key West, Florida.
Really?
So everything is it all ties in somehow.
Yeah.
It's like really, it's super weird when you think about it.
Yeah. It's kind of how I feel about watching your movie. I'm like, all of these things are tied together.
It's like everything happens for a reason. So there was a reason it's all happened.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I got the opportunity to move to San Diego, and I took it, and I'm absolutely happy that I did. You know, when I lived in Los Angeles, I wasn't too stoked on LA. I liked it. I had fun, but I was like, I've always liked San Diego more. It's a lot more chill. It's relaxed. It's a little slower pace than LA. LA is just too much. And New York, I love New York too, because I've been to New York a few times. But it's so fast paced, and I like it to be a little calmer. But
San Diego is literally the Key West of the Western United States.
Yeah, I absolutely love it here.
Mission Beach, surfing,
yeah,
relaxed, flip-flops.
I have my sandals on right now and my shorts. But yeah, I love it out here. I couldn't be happier, and I got married, and we have a great life out here. I get to go surf, and I work from home. I get to do what I like to do. I have time for my projects, and yeah, I guess when people say blessed, and I'm very grateful that I get to do this. No complaints.
Tell me about today's bands.
So okay, today's bands.
Of which I also really like.
I play in a band I started when I first went to San Diego, about a year or two after I lived here. I started a band called Nights Like Thieves, and I played guitar and sang in that band. We've been together for 8 years now, going on 9. But a few years ago, I didn't want to be the main singer anymore, so I asked my friend. I still sing, but my buddies fits like the music we're writing in Nights Like These. He just suits it better, he lives in Del Rio, Texas, but he's from Albuquerque too. And what's funny about this is another kind of loop circle on it, is that when after I was living in Los Angeles and moved back to Albuquerque, New Mexico, I wanted to find a band that were like younger, like a young band that I can kind of help out, right?
Nurture.
Yeah, exactly. They used to call me like the dad. I'm the dad of the band. I'm this band called Painting Promises, which kind of ties back in else with my 909 sessions, is one of the reasons why I started doing my 909 sessions. Is this band called, Well, first they were called From Undefeated Hands, and they switched to Painting Promises. But I believe in this band so much, and I would do like their music videos for free. I would do anything I can. I would try to help them book shows and anything I could do them for them. And the singer was this kid named Angel Flores. Now, so a few years ago, we're writing this new music with Nights Like Thieves, and and Angel's now living in Del Rio, Texas. And I'm like, Angel, what do you think about singing for Nights Like Thieves? Even though you live
somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else, we can make this work. So we've been doing that. And it definitely has changed the dynamic of the band, of course, because we're stateswide, across states. But yeah, it's been great. We're doing that. And then that band doesn't really tour, though. We're more of like, we play shows here and there. We get some good opportunities. We'll take them. And then there's a band from here called Icona, which I was a fan of. So when I first moved to San Diego, I made friends with this guy named Jake, and he worked at Sam Ash Music Store, which I was buying my gear from when I first moved to San Diego, and I didn't know anybody yet. And I made friends with him, and he had a band, and his band was called Icona. And I always thought they were really good, and I actually did one of their music videos. So I do a lot of music videos for a lot of local bands, and I do for other bands that don't live in California. I've shot music videos and done music videos for Albuquerque bands, and I went to Colorado to shoot for other bands, and just, musicians and bands all around the country. Anyways, I did a music video for this band Icona, and I became friends with them a little closer, especially with Jake, the singer. And once their band was switching members, and he's like, "Hey man, would you be down to play bass and fill in until we find someone permanent?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And then I've been with them ever since. So it's like, it's going on. I've been with them for 3 years now. And what's funny is I bought a van for Nights Like Thieves so we can go tour. But it's harder with Nights Like Thieves to tour. So now Icona has been touring as much as possible, and we're using that van for that van now. And I book all the tours and I book all the shows. So it's kind of funny how that worked out, but I do both bands. And then now I'm reuniting with some friends from Albuquerque. We did a band called Along Came the Swarm. We played one show in 2013, and now we're releasing music, and we're playing a show at Launchpad in October.
No kidding.
I just sing in that band, so I'm
okay.
Just for that one show. It's a Halloween show where we act like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Night of the Living cover bands at Launchpad throughout Halloween.
Just from the Facebook posts.
Right. So one of my all-time favorite bands is a band called At the Drive-In from El Paso, Texas, which the members of At the Drive-In became Sparta, and then the other half went to Mars Volta. So we're doing At the Drive-In, and the guys in the band for Along Came the Swarm are also in like local, like legendary bands like Crash Kills 4, Coma Recovery, Jet Black Summer, and my old guitar player from Your Name in Lights, and Eric from Left Unsaid's in it. So it's like this pot of like, yeah, it's awesome. It's super rad. So I'm kind of
extensive number of bands. Like, does every town have that many?
Yes.
Okay then, because I just think ours was the best.
Yeah, I mean, out here in San Diego, there's so many. California is just, it's crazy. So, but yeah, so I guess I'm doing 3 projects, and then Left Unsaid, of course. We wrote a brand new song last year for the release of the documentary, and then when we had our show and our premiere, and we still always talk and mess around with the idea. You guys want to write another song? But who knows? That's always up in the air. So we'll see. Maybe, maybe not.
How far spread out are those guys?
Eric's in Albuquerque. I'm in San Diego. Hunter's in Portland. Jeremy's in Virginia. But with technology nowadays, though, it's so much easier to write music and record. And I'm planning on working on a new project. It's gonna probably take me 4 or 5 years. But it's kind of like my life story, but I want everybody that I have captured on camera to be the characters in my movie, basically, up me that much, and be like yeah, the main characters are like my friends and people I have, and I have this great idea I want to do. Um, it's just gonna take a lot of time, and so yeah.
Well, you're so creative. I've been watching your little animated podcast where you review other bands' videos.
Oh, you
Like,
saw that?
that's
Awesome.
great.
Thanks for
I
that.
really like that. I'm
that
like writing down bands, telling my husband, go find this one.
Yeah, nights like the so that's I did that. I stopped doing it because I did I think 15 episodes and it was so much work. And then and all I asked other bands to do was like just please share it.
And
And
they don't.
I'm like, it was just yeah. I took off. I basically ripped off the idea of Beavis and Butthead.
Perfect.
But it was us reviewing other bands' music videos and talk
I
what we yeah. So it would take me like 8 hours to do an episode.
I was thinking that looks hard. But
Yeah,
you're so creative. You just have these ideas in your head.
thank you. Yeah. I actually have a big whiteboard right here when I have all these ideas and projects I write down and what I need to do. And also booking our tour. I'm booking our next tour is in January. We're not going to be hitting New Mexico this time, but we will be back again.
I'm in Texas. You go to Austin?
We do want to go to Austin. We're not doing Austin this time. This time is more Northern California and Nevada run, but we will be playing in Austin. That's like we want to do go all the way through Texas. We want to do Texas to Florida. We want to go up the coast. So yes, I'll definitely let you know when we plan for Austin for sure.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I played the South by Southwest in Austin before. 2000. Austin's cool. The comedy scene out there is crazy. Actually, there last time I was in Austin was so I do Steve-O from Jackass.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually who I lived with in when I lived in Hollywood, California. He's
okay.
He's from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
Well, here's a funny story. Him, my buddy Ryan Simonetti, and myself, we all moved from South Florida. Ryan lived in Tallahassee, but Steve-O lived in Boca Raton. I came from West Palm Beach. We all moved to Albuquerque around the same time and met in Albuquerque from Florida. Isn't that crazy? And but anyways, I was there with him for when they filmed his Showtime comedy special was in Austin, Texas. So he flew me out and my buddy Ryan out for that. And I got to design the cover. If you go like on my website, you can see I did all the cover art for that. And I still do stuff with him to this day. I actually help him with his podcasts and other stuff. So, but yeah, small world because yeah, he's Albuquerque. Albuquerque has all these. There's so much history. And isn't like Jim Morrison from Albuquerque?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all very unique.
Yeah, Val Kilmer was out there. He was in Santa Fe, right?
All very, very unique.
Yeah.
It's part of the things we talk about on my podcast is what makes Albuquerque what it is, because it's very unique.
New Mexican food is like, that's what I miss. Not only do I miss my friends, but a lot I miss from New Mexico is the New Mexican food. Like
you can't beat that.
Green chili. I even out here, I'll buy like the 505 salsas and stuff. And there's a new place actually that was my friend just texted me this the other day. He's like, I'll tell you right now. Well, you're in Austin, Texas. But let me see.
I'm south of Austin. I'm not a city girl. Well, I was until I moved to Texas, and now I want to hide from people.
Austin's
there's a lot of people.
Austin's getting like even
yeah, they need to add more roads, and then it'll.
Right. Yeah, my friend wrote me, and he's like, "Have you heard of this place called the Pharmacy?" It's a New Mexico place that just opened up in San Diego, but they had it. And I was like, "What? They have green chili breakfast burritos?" And what? No way! So I was like, super excited about it.
I just recorded recently with Dave Hernandez. I'm sure you know Dave. You're friends with Dave.
The shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Scared of Chaka was like, yeah, that was the bands that Left Unsaid looked up to. Scared of Chaka, 1-9. And then in the Shins, he plays in the Shins.
Yes. And so he's in Seattle. He's doing various things, but he's also cooking New Mexican food in Seattle, and it's
You know what?
going very well.
I met Dave when I was a little kid, but I don't think he remembered me. And I remember I got upset one day. What this is like, I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "I don't know you." And I got like my feelings got all hurt. This is like decades ago, and I was all bummed. But I was like, of course he doesn't remember me. I was like a 15-year-old kid when he seen me, and I never really hung out with the dude, but I always like looked up to him because I was a young kid, you know, in the scene. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, Josh
I
remembers
love
you
Josh Gibson. Josh
very well.
Gibson's man, yeah,
Yeah.
he's awesome. Yeah.
And Ray speaks of you, Ray Cordova speaks of you of being incredibly talented.
Yeah, I love Ray too. Actually, so I played in a band. That's when the last time I saw Dave Hernandez was. I was playing drums in a band and Ray was singing. And Dave came over to one of our practices before. I think that's the last time I saw Dave Hernandez, but it's been decades. And but yeah, I looked up to all those guys. They were the older dudes, and yeah, Blind Nine. Oh man, Blind Nine was rad, and Scared of Chaka,
They
and
just sound like home to me. They sound like
yeah,
home.
that's why in the documentary I opened the documentary up with them because they're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
these.
Yeah, it just sounds like home to
Yeah.
me.
Um, before the Shins, they were called Flake Music, right? Yeah, Flake Music. And then the Eyeliners. I don't know if you remember the Eyeliners. They were great. Mike Bobroff. Do you know who you should interview? Is Mike Bobroff.
I spoke with Dave. If you know Mike, can you tell
I
him
love
I'd
Mike
like to
Bobroff.
talk
Yeah,
to him?
he's
Uh,
always on the road. Bobroff's always on tour.
really.
Yeah, he's
It's a That's kind of a funny circle. I interviewed a friend of mine that I grew up with. There's a big punk rocker in Albuquerque. His name is Dominic Martinez. He talks about Mike coming through New York with the Warped Tour and hooking him up with tickets and stuff. And then I interview you and you talk about going on that tour. And it's just so cool how it all comes together. Because I didn't intend to tell the same story from a million different directions, but
right.
it's
Yeah.
happening.
Well, Mike Bobroff too. He was in the documentary, but
Hmm.
he used to go on tour with us as Left Unsaid, and he helped my other band, Your Name and Lights, get on some better tours too. And so it's funny. Mike was just here on tour with Rise Against, but I didn't get to go see him. But I see him randomly. I remember this is probably I don't know, 7 years ago or something. It was my birthday, and I was going to see At the Drive-In, and I walk in, and Mike Bobroff's there. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He's always randomly like popping up in random locations, but he's always on the road.
That's cool. Well, people speak incredibly well of him too. They always
Yeah,
say that he,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
these are all OGs,
yeah.
and
Uh, so
yeah,
maybe if you could put me in touch with him, I'd like that. But that's kind of where it started to me, uh, like the Steve Island generation, you know, the Highland punks. I was Highland High School underneath those guys, about 8, 10 years under them. So they were like the legends that I
yeah,
heard about. Uh,
yeah. I love Steve Island. Yeah, he was our on the cover of our first record.
So cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't know if you could see it, but one of my posters I have up. So I have posters on my wall. I don't know if you could see, but one is you can't see it. I'd have to go over here. But I have Megadeth is one of my posters, and then I have Dr. Dre, the Chronic album, and then I have Minor Threat. I have
Okay.
when I was 12 years old. Those are like my three top records that I would listen to, and I'd put in my like skateboard and surf videos and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was into like No Effects, Bad Religion, but metal. Yeah, I still listen to metal bands, of course. I've been wanting to make like a metal like album with but I have a buddy. He played. He lives in Florida, and he used to be in a band called Satan's Taint or something. It was something funny, but he played. I think it was called Satan's Taint or something like that. And he played in a band with Bob from Overkill. It was part of his band, and I grew up on
Okay.
stuff. So
Overkill.
yeah,
Okay.
these metal bands.
Those metals.
Testament. But Megadeth, I love Megadeth, was like one of my favorites. Peace Sells, like Who's Buying, that album's still fucking awesome.
I just did recording with Josh in the last couple weeks where he's making the argument that some of those metal bands were punk rock before punk rock was even defined.
Josh Gibson?
Yeah. Go back and listen to early Who, he says.
Oh,
Iron Maiden. Yeah, Iron Maiden was punk rock in the beginning and never admit it.
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with him on that. That's true. Did you ever see that documentary called The Decline of the Western Civilization?
Yeah.
They had like the metal years at the punk rock one. That's like one of my favorite documentaries ever.
Me too. Me too. Those are the things that are inspired me. So you and I are sitting here talking.
Yeah, absolutely. The metal years one, all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorite documentaries. So, but yeah, Josh Gibson, man, he's cool as fuck. Yeah, I love Josh. He's important now, right?
Yeah, and he's just a wealth of information. He wants to talk music. He wants to do some music podcast interviews with some friends. So like the three of us get online and you two can talk about music for an hour and I can take notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He would really like that. Before I forget, tell us about the van. They burned up your van. That's the most Albuquerque thing I can think of.
Yeah, and it's crazy because to this day we still don't even know who did that.
Okay, so tell the story.
So we had our tour van, and we didn't have insurance for the tour van. In fact, we were gonna go on tour the next day, and I think we were gonna put the van back on insurance when we go on tour, right? But it was no. Next day we were gonna leave on tour because we were kids, like we were teenagers, and we didn't really have enough money. So when the van wasn't on tour, we didn't have insurance. We just let it chill.
Yeah.
So we were getting ready to leave for tour. I was actually Eric and I lived in this house. I think Eric was already gone. I was there with some other friends, but I was moving out, and I was moving to my friend's house, which is down the street. So I'm down the street moving my stuff, or something was going on, and then my buddy, one of the guys, hits me up from the house. He's like, "Dude, the van's on fire at the house right now." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I skated as fast as I could to the house, and I see our van on fire, and I see like the fire department's there. Some of the neighbors were like sitting out there, and the neighbors hated when we practice. We get the cops come to our house all the time when we practice. But also too, there was bands that like were hating on us too.
Really?
Like hating to see that we were succeeding and that we were getting attention. I mean, I've been accused. So to this day, we don't know, but somebody lit our van on fire, and
daytime, nighttime.
It was during the daytime.
Just what neighborhood is this?
Mesa Arriba. It was 9900 Mesa Arriba in the Heights on Eubank and like Candelaria. It was right behind UCAN Bowl. Remember? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, hang out at UCAN Bowl because we'd walk through the back way. But yeah, somebody lit our van on fire, and yeah, it was crazy. We never got to tour. It was kind of like the ending of our band.
No, really.
Kind of. Well, actually, it was actually no, because what we did after that is we got like photographs of our pictures, and my girlfriend at the time and I were burning the pictures as our album was called The Curse. And we used all those pictures, the burnt van and all this stuff, and burned our pictures, and that's actually when our band started blowing up.
That's cool.
But people were getting like really upset with us because we were doing well, and they didn't. I don't know. It's crazy. Even people that like we knew were hating on us behind the scenes, and it was very sad because we were always supportive of all our friends.
It's an Albuquerque thing. I mean, some of the stories, just the tattoo industry has, you know, even some of the best of friends have had their decades where they didn't speak to each other.
Yeah, competition. Yeah, competitive. So, and I think it's like that in every industry, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and music tends to have not just creative people, but like in your case, you guys were young.
Well, not only that, it's like, but with music, see, that's what, like, see, like people like Josh Gibson and stuff, and the other bands, they were always supportive and cool. Like we would be stoked to like open up for Blind Nine back then and Scared of Chaka and stuff like that. So
But there's other people in similar scenes that didn't see it the same way.
yeah, and that still
Yeah.
happens to today too. There's bands out here in San Diego that like compete and they'll act like they're cool, but then they'll be like, oh, get all like pissy when you get a good show or something, or they're like, we can't believe that band's on getting to play that, and yeah, whatever, dude, get over his fucking music.
Well, in my generation, they just beat each other up for liking different types of music. So I suppose that's somewhat evolved.
Well, out, New Mexico is wild. I mean, I remember like the day too, like the skinhead days and all that stuff too. It's
I
crazy.
remember the day it happened. I remembered
So
the day that suddenly all my friends showed up and their heads were shaved and they were in boots and flight jackets, and like all of a sudden the world was a different place.
yeah, what was one of the like? Well, I can't think of his name. One of like well-known skinhead dudes in Albuquerque was like a gnarly dude. And I heard a story. I wasn't there, but I heard a story that Scared of Choco was playing this like I don't know if it was a house show or something, but the dude was sitting there right in front of Dave when Dave was singing. I don't know if this is true or not. This is a story I heard, but I was like, "That's a punk rock story, dude." And the skinhead dude's sitting there drinking beers, just staring at Dave while he's playing, throwing them behind him, like whatever, and just goes boom and pushes the mic right into Dave's face. Which I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard this story. And I was like, "Geez,
No, that's very
the hell, that's
Albuquerque.
crazy."
For my generation, that's how it was all the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, it was like that for us too. There's a funny story that happened to me for a Left Unsaid, our second EP release party. I got in a fight with these guys. Well, first of all, my first fight I ever got into, I was 17 years old at the launch pad. My band Angry Inch opened up for the US Bombs, and this 33-year-old guy socked me in my jaw. Um, and then, yeah, I was 17 years old. I was like my first
Damn.
like bar fight. I thought got in a fight with a 13-year-old dude. I was 17. And then Jay Collins. I don't know if you know who Jay Collins is. He was in bands like Icky and the Yucks, but he was in my band. He was older. I always looked up as like my older brother. I think he beat the guy
Okay.
up. But so afterwards, this is 2000, 2001, 2002. Left Unsaid, we had our EP release party for our EP titled 11. And I'm sitting there, standing there watching O Ranger, the band, and these like jock meathead type dudes like start moshing and they like push me into like my girlfriend and it knocks her over. And I turn around and like my drummer Jeremy and I get in a fight with these dudes. And the dude he like gets me pretty well, like busts my lip or something. Anyways, they get kicked out and they get the shit kicked out of them. And the funny thing is at the end they're like, "We're not here to start shit. We're just here to see Left Unsaid." It's like you guys came there to see our band and pick a fight with me, but they didn't know. Like,
You just got your ass kicked by Left Unsaid.
actually the bouncers at launch pad they put it, but I used to get in so much trouble, even like yeah, I used to get in so much shit when I lived in Albuquerque, fighting all the time, getting in fights all the fucking time downtown, at shows, all that shit. And
Is that what it's like everywhere, or is that just Albuquerque? Just like to
Albuquerque,
fight.
I don't know. I haven't been in a fight in a long time. I've grown up and I've changed my ways a little bit. I mean, I did when I first moved here. I got into some trouble a little bit, but uh, yeah. I mean, you can't really take the Albuquerque out of you.
No, and you weren't even there. I mean, you came, uh, what'd you say? You came 94, 95, and left when?
Well, I came from to yeah. I moved to Albuquerque August of '94, and I left 2006 to go live in LA for a year, 2007, I think. And then I came back and then I left 2015 to move.
Oh, okay.
But even when I grew up in South Florida, like I was a hell rate, like the kids I surfed with, like the locals and shit.
Uh-huh.
We yeah, I remember I used to get in fights at the beach and all kinds of stuff. I was a little scrappy kid. Um, but you know, now we're older, we're in our 40s. Don't have time for bull.
What did you say? You're a Cuban and Italian too, isn't that? Or like, are you like a hot-tempered
I used
Latin person?
I used to be, and I'm a Taurus.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I'm a spicy mix, but uh, I've actually calmed down. So I'm so mellow. Like it's funny because a lot of people that knew me when I was younger and they see me now, they're like, dude, you've completely like 180'd. I'm like, I know, crazy.
That would be a good podcast. Let's get together some of the people that knew you then. Have them tell some stories.
Oh man, there's so much. Yeah. I used to be wild. But no, I've calmed down so much. And I don't party like I used to party either. I think back then you're enraged with whiskey and got that liquid courage going. And I mean,
I think that's it. There's a lot of alcohol in New Mexico, and alcohol tends to make people want to fight.
I was a mess. I used to drink hard and heavy.
Really,
I
really.
don't even drink anymore now. It's like my wife doesn't drink either. Like if we do like have a couple drinks, there's sometimes I like to have a little fun and go a little harder. I built a bar in my garage,
Okay.
but and sometimes we'll have like karaoke nights or have like, you
Oh,
know,
that's cool.
I actually shot a music video for a band in there, and like part of the storyline is like they're at the bar to my garage.
Oh, that's funny. I just watched a video that you made in is it your garage?
Was it for a band called Lioneer?
No, it's your band. You tied that man up. You held him hostage.
Yeah,
Garage.
yes. The shut me up. Yeah, that was in my garage.
Yeah. When you posted it to Facebook and you said, well, like we tied him up or tortured him. And then when I watched the video, I was like, well, you actually did. Like that was great. I really like that.
Yeah. That there's another video I did for a band called Lioneer though, and it's like with the actual bar setting. Like you can
Okay.
Yeah, but drinking all the time, like that was a thing in Albuquerque. Everybody just drank so much and partied so hard. It's like now that we're older, it's like we can't do that.
No.
Some people still do though. And I've lost
Some people.
friends that just continued to do it. That's the sad part is when I was doing the documentary. If you know, I don't know if you watched it all the way through it to the end of the credits, but I have a section in the credits where I put like in loving memory to all my friends. And while I was adding to the list as I was working on the documentary, it was like so sad. Sucks. But yeah, Albuquerque's fueled by alcohol. There's a lot. So
Yeah. Did the other members of your band, did like the people you know, escape Albuquerque without any criminal records or drug addictions or serious
yeah,
alcohol? I mean, some of
well.
my interviews, people barely made it out alive.
Yeah, everybody from Left Unsaid's doing very well. They're family, great jobs and living it up. Hunter, Hunter's very creative. He's written a children's book. He's writing like movies, TV shows. He's doing really well. So right now he wrote like a whole TV show, like a comedy show, and it's up in this competition. He's made like top like 3% or something. Like he's like the top 3 out of like. So he's killing it, doing it. Eric lives in Albuquerque. His kids have like that rare condition, Gaucher disease.
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay.
They're doing great now, which is great, awesome. But Eric also plays in like a music, and he has a great family life, doing great things. Jeremy, our drummer, lives in Virginia. He has his kids. He's making hot sauces. I designed one of his labels for his barbecue sauce. But I definitely all this footage I've accumulated throughout my whole life with and I have so many cool stories and all my friends that are part of it. Like that's what I was saying. I want to make them the characters of my movie. And I have this idea of like I don't know if I want to say my whole idea is, but it's gonna be pretty cool. I think I want to try to do something, and it's gonna not just be of my life. It's like with my
You're
friend,
gonna include everyone.
buddy, everything that's ever been a part of. Yeah, basically
Include it.
memories of the footage I have, and yeah, I have this way I want to do it, but it's gonna take me years to do it. It took me 6 months to transfer all the footage, um, so. But I wanted to call it. Yeah, I want it to be like my first 50 years. Like, please play this at my funeral, my first 50 years or something.
You'll have the best memorial video.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope I live to be.
Just show it.
So, but I'm saying my goal was to have it, and that would be like just like my first 50 years, and then I can do another one later. But I don't.
Next 25.
The thing is, though, I don't film as much as I used to anymore because it's my job, and it's like be back. But growing up, I always had a camera, and I'd film every like moment, and I'd film all these things. And now it's like I'm filming when I have a job to do, and I'm working, and I have so much other projects going on. So, but yeah, I just wanted to do something. So we'll see. We'll see if I do it. I have another idea too, like skateboarding is such a huge part of my life, and I have so much footage from Albuquerque. I wanted to do. I've been actually working on this, pulling clips and starting to piece it together now. I want to do a big skateboard Albuquerque video of all the footage we have and never did anything with, and then also all the music that's in this video is all from Albuquerque bands. So from out decades, from the 90s to now. So the music's going to be back.
Oh, no, not the 90s. Let's go back to the 80s.
Well, I don't know any 80s bands.
I do.
So if you have some music and want to throw it my way, I'll definitely use it. Absolutely.
I do. And I'm making lists of all these bands.
Yeah. So that's the goal I want to do. And I have it on my board right here. Albuquerque skate video. Have that done by 2026. Or sometime. My life documentary, I have that to be done by my birthday, May, by 2030.
That's when you turn 50.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Good for you. Talk about a goal-oriented guy.
Yeah, I have things written down. But I'm in Icona, I'll be turning 40 when I play. It's funny in that band because those guys are 20. So a guitar player is 28. Other guitar player is 30.
Just tell them you're 10 years younger.
And then our drummer's 38, 39. So him and I are the oldest.
Do you have to drive? That means you have to drive the van.
No, actually, the youngest member drives the van. I bought the van.
Okay.
So, and he likes to drive. So he drives. I work a lot on the road too. So I'm always sitting on my laptop editing some stuff.
I just think that was part of the Left Unsaid movie, was that you always managed to get out of driving, keep everyone awake all night.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want me. Well, first of all, I didn't get my driver's license until I was 25.
Really? Just too busy?
But the first time I ever driven a car was when I was 11 years old in South Carolina. And I have that on film too. I used to steal my mom's car when I was a teenager and drive it. I used to steal a car, drive around the neighborhood, pick up my friends. But yeah, and then I had a girlfriend that always drove. I skateboarded everywhere too, though.
Okay.
And I just never, I didn't get my license until I was 25. It was pretty fun.
Okay, then.
Even if I had my license, they would have been scared of me driving back then. Because I was just a wild kid.
Okay, well, I'm glad you waited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like I drive. I have a car and a van now. I've been driving.
And you're in California. Do you get to move, or is it all traffic?
San Diego's not as bad as LA, but there's some traffic. But California driving, Albuquerque driving is really bad there's like a lot of not great drivers, but California is such a bigger place. It's yeah, it's there's a lot of crazy drivers out here. So, and I'm like, I'm always yelling like, use your damn blinker. Like, God, if you're gonna go fucking turn a lane, use your damn blinker, dude. How am I supposed to know? Or like, that's like I'm a very like I pay attention very well, and I'm always looking. But I notice those things. I hate when people don't use their blinkers, and that happens.
That would, yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, that would. I'd probably run you off the road. I'd be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Like,
Yeah.
people don't do that shit around me. Behave.
All the way over, exits and stuff. I'm really bad with directions though. Like I need a GPS. Even when I have a GPS, I'm terrible. Like if I'm not, if I can't, it takes me at least like 20 times to drive and get familiar with the area to know, like without having to use the GPS.
Well, they grew up in the Florida Keys. Is there just like north and south?
Well, I only lived in I only lived in Key West till I was 5, 4, 4 years, 4 or 5, West Palm Beach, but whatever, Florida. I didn't drive in Florida, so I just yeah. But Albuquerque, yeah, I basically grew up in Albuquerque. I would say from my teenage years, 15 to 27, and then 29 and 35. So,
other than your van, any really bad experiences in Albuquerque? Ever been seriously assaulted, just punched at parties?
Yeah, I have a scar right here. I got stabbed.
Okay, yeah, I knew I was alluding to something there.
There's a picture of it on my Instagram. The funny story is when it happened, I was on mushrooms and I was really drunk.
Ooh.
Yeah. And,
so
I remember like just yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Why did someone stab you?
I got in a fight with these 2 dudes, and it was like over something with my girlfriend. Yeah, it was crazy. And like they from what I remember is like one of them like pulled the hoodie over my head, hockey like style, and I like kind of, when that happens, I like slid out of it, and when I was sliding, the other one kind of like went down and stabbed at me and caught my hand, from what I remember. I used to get in all kinds. I remember I got in a fight at a red light with these 2 dudes, and Carlos from the launch pad was in the car. He was a bouncer there, and he was in the back seat, but he had a broken leg, and he watched me fight these dudes. And I remember I broke out the window with my elbow, and I had 6 pieces of glass, and I had to get it surgically removed, stuck in my arm. I used to be wild, and it's crazy because I'm so mellow and so.
I would not have guessed. I want to talk to some of these people that knew you then.
I was never like I would just not put up with people's shit, and I was very feisty. So if like you fuck with me, I would be up for like I'd fight you back. I wouldn't,
like a hot Latin temper. You just don't take shit.
Yeah, and I growing up in skateboard culture too. Like when I remember all the jocks and shit used to like talk shit to skaters, and you know,
and you carried a weapon.
Yeah, well,
that too.
Skateboard, yeah, hit it. But just I think just stuff like that, and just growing up in Albuquerque is kind of a rough spot. Like nobody puts up with your shit.
Nope.
So,
a little bit like prison culture.
Yeah, so I think it just kind of comes with it, and you kind of gotta learn fast. But yeah, it's nice out here because, like I said, I'm older now, and I don't have to deal with that. Plus I don't go to bars unless like we play them or something. I'm not out there. When we were younger in Albuquerque, like going to the bars, trying to meet girls, getting drunk, and getting in fights, and you know, all that other shit. But
wow, you're like you were a good Albuquerque transplant. You're just kind of that guy anyway.
Yeah, Albuquerque is it's a special place.
It is.
I don't know if I hear now it's even crazier. A buddy of mine is actually he's a sergeant like at the police force over there, and he was sending me um, pictures and videos of like their bait cars, and there's like 11-year-old kids stealing these cars, and I'm like, kid looks like he's an 11-year-old child stealing these cars. And then he's telling me about like kids shooting guns and they're like shooting at each other in Central, and they're like 12, 13, 14 years old. I'm so sad. That's terrible.
It's so bad now. People are like asking me, why are you trying to make a documentary about the 80s? The 80s weren't shit. And I'm like, well, the 80s were pretty fucking horrible for those of us that were there in Albuquerque. And obviously, they set the tone for whatever you call that now, because it's really bad.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it now goes with like social media. And everybody wants to get crazy clips
Yeah.
and like do crazy shit, and
Yeah.
I mean it goes all over the place.
It's Albuquerque. They're referring to the war zone now as like the latest open air drug market. It's
Yeah, I took my mom
wild.
there because she's never been to New Mexico, and I took her to the war zone, and she's like, what are you doing? There's two YouTube channels. Victor Oliveira, did you watch that one?
I don't know if I watched that one. I watch a couple of them.
And then the Channel 5, Andrew, whatever his name
Oh,
is.
he's great. I like,
You
yeah.
gotta watch the Oliveira guy.
Oh, I know. Oh, I do like that guy. He's really good.
Yeah, I like him and Channel 5 both. With the
Hmm.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see that though, because you'd think like with Albuquerque, with all the movies and all the stuff they're bringing to the city and all the money, you'd think that they could do something and put some of that money into like back in the city to help the homelessness and help like crack down on some stuff and clean that city up a little bit.
And something's not working there. Corruption, probably. Not, the money's not making it down to the street. The people that need it would be
Yeah,
my guess. It's wild. And some of the stories, I mean, I just knew so many people that had such rough childhoods.
yeah. I'm lucky that I did not have to grow up in a rough upbringing. I'm talking about like my family, like my parents. They weren't like hard, like they weren't like. Because I have friends who have come from like very distorted family lives. Like what's the word I'm looking for?
Dysfunction doesn't even describe it.
Yeah, dysfunction. But yeah, but I've seen some stuff. But yeah, I'm lucky. I'm very grateful and
Mhm.
lucky that I didn't have that upbringing.
Yeah, me too. And I feel very blessed. And part of the reason that you're talking about wanting to give a gift to your bandmates of that movie, I think of a lot of the friends that we've lost,
I,
and every year, like on Facebook, the people post the same picture of that person over and over again. And I was just like, man, we got to get this person's, we got to document our words and our thoughts and our feelings and our stories. Somebody
yeah.
won't be here to tell them.
I mean, one day we're all gonna be gone, right? AI is gonna take over. It's gonna be sci-fi everywhere. Yeah, it's gonna get weirder.
Yeah, I don't want to say good or bad because we just don't know. Mario, it was really a pleasure. Thanks for talking to me. If there's anyone you can think of that's from Albuquerque or has a great story or just fun people like to might want to document their stuff, send them my way.
Definitely.